Hello, it's another beautiful Wednesday evening out here in the nation's capital city. I hope it is the same at your end. Of course, it is a NewsExtra night, and the news truly has the extra touch. We'll open with some good news for some parts of the country. Approval has been given for critical road infrastructure by the Federal Executive Council. You know, the Nigerian skies have opened for domestic flights. We have that in the can. The AKK gas pipeline is a big one, and we are still at it. What impact are you expecting? We also have big news on the deregulation of the downstream sector and challenges of power. Of course, the coronavirus is not just going away yet. So we too won't let up as we have the latest developments. All these plus security issues, sports updates, and a look at Thursday's weather prospects. The above is by no means the whole package. So sit back and get the real deal as the taste of the pudding is in the eating. I am Fatima Umar Buba, and this is NewsExtra. You're welcome. The Federal Executive Council has approved over 110 billion naira towards the provision of critical road infrastructure in the northeast, southeast, and the Niger Delta regions of the country. The Minister of Works and Housing, Babatunde Fashola, made this known at a media briefing after the weekly meeting of the council. And State House correspondent Adamu Sambo reports that his education counterpart, Adamu debunked media reports on the planned reopening of schools by the federal government.
The meeting, presided over by President Muhammadu Buhari, was the 15th in its series for the year 2020 and the 6th to be held virtually in conformity with the COVID-19 social distancing guidelines, with issues relating to the provision of critical infrastructure once again dominating discussions. The council approved over 25 billion naira towards aiding the completion of Enugu-Lokwanta section of the Enugu-Port Harcourt Highway.
The second memorandum was for the award of 3 different roads. The first is Dikwa Mate Mongunu Road for 60.273 billion. Biunuma Road, linking Borno and Adamawa for 15.527 billion. And the third is for Gombe Biu Road, linking Adamawa and Borno, also for 7.645 billion naira.
Education Minister Adamu also secured the approval of the council for an agreement between the Kaduna Polytechnic and a private firm on the renovation of a student's hostel towards easing problems of accommodation.
The cost of the contract is 744,264,000 naira. They will take 1 year to reconstruct the student hostels in Kaduna Polytechnic, and then they will run it for 14 years, during which they will recover what they have sunk.
He said when completed, the 18-seater facility is expected to accommodate over 4,000 students. The minister, however, used the opportunity to clear the air regarding controversies surrounding the reopening of schools amidst the coronavirus pandemic.
Schools under the supervision of the Federal Ministry of Education will not reopen on August 4th or any time soon. We will not open school for examinations or for any reason unless it is safe for our students. Even WAEC cannot determine for us what we do. You know, this social distancing is just some beautiful theory. When the cameras are there, everybody will be obeying it. When there is no camera, everybody will just be normal, especially children. One child is enough to infect everyone in the class. When they close class, they go to the dormitory. Everybody in the dormitory by tomorrow will probably be. So this is not the right time to open schools.
Education Minister Adamu therefore appealed to state governors that have already made pronouncements on the resumption of schools in their respective states to reconsider their decisions in the best interest of the nation's future leaders, saying personally he does not mind Nigeria losing a complete school year than exposing the children to danger. From the State House, Adamu Sambu, NTA News.
Let's talk about Nigerian skies now, where businesses are expected to receive a boost as life is gradually returning to the aviation sector. And Benny Adams was at the Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport, Abuja, to see firsthand the resumption of flights to and from Abuja.
The resumption of air travel seems to have taken off like a bird, blind to status or privilege. Whether you're in uniform or mufti, young or old, the protocol is same. You have to wash your hands, carry your baggage by self, and observe physical distancing, aided by floor markings of 2 meters apart. From the entrance to the ticketing and boarding pass collection points to the waiting room, there is eagle-eyed surveillance to ensure strict adherence to these protocols. The first flight from Lagos is being inspected. A slight drizzle wets the tarmac and rekindles the appetite for the fastest mode of transportation. It is a 50-minute journey that has been inspected for 3 months. Its descent from the skies receives the applause reserved for a much-loved stage artist.
The landing and takeoff of this aircraft is evident to the fact that the Nigerian skies are open to commercial flights. This particular airline came from the Murtala Mohammed International Airport in Lagos and landed here this morning at Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport. And about now, boarding is being concluded for takeoff back to Lagos.
From the pilots to the passengers, the reality of flying again is exciting as life is gradually returning to normal.
It feels really good to be back flying here after so much, wait and suspense, and this whole COVID thing has really put reality back into everybody's eyes,
I'm going for a business meeting in Lagos, and I'm actually happy.
On who bears the burden of the spacing in the aircraft in relation to cost, Captain Rabiu Yadudu says the airfare remains same for now.
Nobody is going to set out just to extort or exploit the situation. We want to make sure that it remains a profitable and reasonable business.
Takeoff and landing have always been associated with air travel. The resumption seems to have taken off quite well, with more destinations expected to witness more landings in the next few days. Benny Adams, NTA News.
And from the Lagos end, Michael Olale reports that there is high sense of assurance by passengers based on the safety measures put in place. Like they say, seeing is believing. So Michael, please show us.
The cloud eclipsing flight operations for the past 3 months is gradually subsiding and giving way to new norms. Observing physical distancing, temperature checks, and compulsory use of face masks are now the new order of protocol at the Murtala Mohammed International Airport, and the high premium placed on them is quite above luggage checks.
You can see the order now, and this is a standard in any international airport.
The conventional announcement from the public address system now include instructions on COVID-19 safety tips for passengers while accessing the waiting lounge, requiring compulsory use of polythene to keep items.
And everything you touch, you are given a sanitizer to really cleanse your hands. So I think it's good.
If they could be properly educated how to put on their mask properly, when and how often to use the hand sanitizers, and then I think they have done their best.
Airline operators are optimistic that the measures put in place are enough to guarantee safety.
To start, it's not likely we are going to have a full flight for the first few days, so we look at how things develop. But for now, it's above average, so at least because the flight is not full, you see spaces. But as the traffic pick up, I'm sure the airline will strategize and know what to do about the physical distancing.
If they create spacing, actually the fares must go high. But I think the NCDC rules, they are actually not going to be any spacing. Any passenger that would board any of the aircraft must abide by rule regulation, which means they must wear their face mask.
For now,
Only 2 airlines operate from the General Aviation Terminal. More airlines will definitely join, just as we expect an increase in the number of passengers in the coming days. In Lagos, Michael Olale, NTA News.
Oh, thank you, Michael. Now, to be forewarned is to be forearmed. That's the adage. So the Federal Road Safety Corps is commencing a nationwide enlightenment of road users and commuters to ensure full compliance with COVID-19 safety protocols. Like I said, to be forewarned is to be forearmed. That is enlightenment before enforcement. Already, a front desk officer's workshop on enforcement is on at the FRSC headquarters in Abuja, from where Oyeyemi Ajayi now reports.
Charity, they say, begins at home. That explains why the Federal Road Safety Corps is training these 50 front desk officers to ensure adherence to the physical and social distancing in accordance with the NCDC protocols while carrying out their responsibilities. This is coming few days after the Corps had the meeting with the road transport stakeholders in Abuja, with the Riot Act read and resolutions agreed upon by both parties on the new guidelines of interstate movement. And these include reduction of passengers by 50%.
And we started with a preventive and educative approach to prevent, to educate. Those are the things before we enforce. So I think we are getting it right gradually, because the directive of the government is that we must not cause a spike in the cases from the highways. So that means it behoves on us to ensure that we educate all the passengers, the drivers, and the owners. So from
part of the resolutions agreed on includes disinfecting vehicles before and after any journey. In Abuja, Oyeyemi Ajayi, NTA News.
Nigeria's aspirations to reach global destination in energy diversification and improvement in power generation is gradually being realized with promising results. These are opinions of guests on NTA's Tuesday Live on prospects of national economy and multi-dimensional impact of AKK gas pipeline in Ajaokuta, Kaduna, and Kano. Abubakar Usman Akwaga reports that massive employment generation is another fruitful component within the value chain of the project.
The Ajaokuta, Kaduna and Kano gas pipeline project is valued at $2.8 billion and designed to cover 614 kilometers. Phase 1 of the project will cover 200-kilometer stretch between Ajaokuta and Abuja Terminal gas station at a cost of $855 million. Phase 2 will comprise 193-kilometer long section between Abuja and Kaduna at a cost of approximately $835 million, while Phase 3 covers 221-kilometer long section between the Kaduna Terminal gas station, estimated at $1.2 billion. Guests say the project will provide more energy sources, diversify revenue, revive hailing industries, and generate massive employment.
A lot of companies in the 70s and the 80s in Kaduna, today they are shut down. Why? Because they can't compete. You know, if we have gas pipelines, some of these companies actually can revitalize. They can come back to life.
I commend the domestic plan to use Nigerian gas. We cannot hand the type of money we hand from oil from natural gas. But natural gas can make more impact on our economy than the money we are handing from abroad.
The project, which was described as the single largest investment in the history of Nigeria's gas sector, experts say will sustain economic vehicle for stabilizing domestic consumption and producing surplus for export.
The reason why the industries are bubbling in Lagos and its environs is got to do with the fact there is source of energy, and this energy is gas.
There is need to be a massive public education and awareness. Even this program is one of such.
The project will arguably unlock approximately 2.2 billion cubic feet of gas to the domestic market, support the addition of 3,600 megawatts of power to the national grid, as well as help with the revitalization of textile industries, which alone boosts more than 3 million jobs in parts of the country. In Abuja, Abubakar Usman Akwanga, NTA News.
In another development, Minister of State Petroleum Resources Timiprit Silva says the federal government is very mindful of the likely impact higher petroleum prices would have on Nigerians and is working very hard to alleviate this by rolling out an auto gas scheme which will provide Nigerians with alternative sources of fuel at a lower cost. Explaining the reason for the decision to deregulate the downstream subsector, Timiprit Silva said, after a thorough examination of the economics of subsidizing petrol for domestic consumption, the federal government concluded that it was unrealistic to continue with the burden of subsidizing petrol to the tune of trillions of naira every year. Considering that the subsidy was benefiting in large part of the rich rather than the poor and ordinary Nigerians. The minister stressed that with deregulation, government will no longer continue to be the main supplier of petroleum products, as it will encourage the private sector to take over the role of supplier of petroleum products. When the federal government privatized the power sector several years back, its ambition was to replicate the success story of the telecommunications sector. Close to 2 decades down the line, the difference appears to be in the change of names from NEPA to PHCN to Gencos and Discos. The House of Representatives wants to change this narrative, and National Assembly correspondent Lami Ali reports.
We've been engaging the discourse to provide a framework of how to provide a service reflecting tariff for all customers of different classes. The July 1 deadline is still there. We're trying to still negotiate.
You have no excuse whatsoever to tell this committee that, oh, you have tried that, and you cannot try and leave. Try and get it right.
House Leader and Chairman of the Ad Hoc Committee on Investigation and Review of Reforms in the Power Sector, pointing to regulators what is on the minds of Nigerians pertaining to poor service delivery in the sector. Several policy reviews and financial interventions, he added, are yet to translate to the yearnings of Nigerians. Deputy Speaker Ahmed Idris Wasi, during the hearing, noted that the legislative intervention will address poor performance.
Given that this is a very good sector that Nigeria is very much in need of its own survival for our industrialization and for our normal living. About 1.something trillion, 1.2 trillion has so far been invested, and there is no commensurate result.
Stakeholders in their submissions say efforts are being synchronized to tackle non-availability of meters, tariff on electricity, as well as generation and distribution. Estimated billing is one protracted disagreement between electricity consumers and distribution companies in Nigeria. Now, this ad hoc committee hopes to, at the end of its assignment, make recommendations that would finally lay this matter to rest. From the National Assembly, Lami Ali, NTA News.
Politics and governance is all about service to the people. That is what all politicians profess. But is that what all politicians in government provide? Well, there is a politician in government in Nasarawa State who is talking the talk and walking the walk. Apparently, he has full knowledge of the diversity among the people and the urgency to provide them a sense of belonging by steadily growing the state's economy and promoting well-being of the people. Hamza Musa Makarfi tells us that Governor Abdullahi Saleh has since gone to work and is accomplishing these ideals.
Nasarawa State is 24 years old and still dreaming big towards becoming more united and achieving accelerated development in tandem with vision of founding fathers. With history of 2 pioneering administrators and elected governors, Abdullahi Saleh, an engineer by profession and industrialist at the helm of affairs, says he's committed to running an inclusive government to take the state to the next level.
Well, Nasarawa State is a very huge construction site.
More changes are manifesting with new projects in towns and rural communities to promote industrial and agricultural development. To the governor, the phenomenon of abandoned project syndrome has no place under his leadership.
It may be somebody's dream. It now becomes your dream.
and it forms part of your dream. And that's why you will see projects that were started by Ali Akwe, who is late now, of blessed memory. We try to complete that project.
This is evident in bringing to fruition Lafia Airport mega project and others, as the Presidential Lodge and befitting banquet hall completed have received the names of former Governor Umar Tankwa Al-Makura and late Aliyu Akwe-Doma for initiating the projects. There is appreciation for uniting the political fold and endearing government to the people by the stakeholders.
For this landmark decision,
within and across boundary, commitments to engender peace and harmonious coexistence is making impact in Nasarawa State. For Muntaka Aliyu and many others, although government has done fairly well, they believe more needs to be done.
The areas I want him to improve on is infrastructure. I want to see the government open new, health centers and other places.
If you don't know your problems, you can't find true solutions to them. It's like the saying that if you don't know where you are going, any road will take you there.
As a federating state, Nasarawa is benefiting from the next level agenda of the federal government in roads construction, electricity, water supply and safety net programs to promote well-being of the people and sustain their confidence in Lafia. Hamza Musa Magalpi, NTA News.
Thank you so much, Hamza. Now from Lafia, we'll take you to Akure, where the Ondo State House of Assembly has suspended its deputy speaker and one other over alleged unruly behavior. And Olajide Bello has that.
Following the commencement of the impeachment process of the State Deputy Governor, Agboola Ajayi, over alleged misconduct, the House convened Wednesday and suspended indefinitely 3 out of the 9 members who declined to sign the impeachment notice on the Deputy Governor. They were alleged of disregarding to House rules of engagement. The Clerk of the House, Bode Adeyelu, in a letter read at plenary, announced the suspension of the Deputy Speaker, Ogundeji Iroju, and 2 other members, Adewale Williams and Favour Tomomewo. The House also announced that an ad hoc committee will be set up to look into the actions of the suspended lawmakers. The clerk thereafter read a letter from the Majority Leader, Suleiman Maito, which informed the House of his resignation. Meanwhile, some of the suspended lawmakers have reacted to their suspension, saying they were denied fair hearing.
No section of our law, more especially the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, which is the grand norm of our law in this country, where it is stated that a representative of the people should be disallowed on no account from carrying out the normal legislative business for which such person was elected for.
The plenary was presided over by the Speaker, Bamidele Olayelogun. In Akure, Olajide Bello, NTA News.
And up ahead on NewsExtra, trending stories on the coronavirus pandemic. They hold sway from the farm all the way into the kitchen. Support for women as forces to reckon with in ensuring food security. Stay with us.
I wish to once again commend the frontline workers across the country who
Good to have you back. Africa's coronavirus cases hit 500,000 as the United States formally withdraws from the World Health Organization amid rising cases of COVID-19 in America. Joyce Ometo brings us an update on the health crisis.
The Trump administration has notified the United Nations that the United States is formally withdrawing from the World Health Organization, a move that comes amid a rise in coronavirus cases in Americas. The president had made his intentions known in May, accusing the World Health Organization of being under China's control in the wake of the coronavirus pandemic. Meanwhile, the United States has registered 60,209 new cases, a record for a 24-hour period. In another development, ministers who have recently had contact with Brazil's President Jair Bolsonaro are being tested for coronavirus after he announced that he was infected. In the meantime, Israel's Defense Minister Benny Gantz has entered quarantine as a precautionary measure after coming into contact with a suspected coronavirus patient. Israel is seeing a renewed surge in virus cases after ease of lockdown. Meanwhile, the world has surpassed 12 million cases of the coronavirus. Record by Worldometer as at 6 p.m. local time indicates that there are now 12,035,661 COVID-19 cases worldwide, with 548,443 mortalities. Africa now has more than 500,000 confirmed cases of COVID-19. Figures released Wednesday by the Africa Center for Disease Control show that the continent records 511,980 cases, 12,026 fatalities, and 248,809 recoveries. In the meantime, Nigeria Tuesday recorded 15 deaths from COVID-19, bringing the total fatality figure from the virus to 669. Statistics published by the Nigeria Center for Disease Control show that 29,879 cases have been confirmed. Out of this number, 12,108 persons have recovered. And that's a global update on COVID-19. Many thanks for watching. I am Joyce Ometu.
Women in Africa, Nigeria inclusive, have proven that without them, there will be no food to eat. The fact is based on the role they play in all aspects of food production, from land preparation, planting, harvesting, to putting the food on the table. And this is why the federal government, UN agencies and other non-governmental organizations are dishing out palliatives to support women's agricultural activities amidst the coronavirus pandemic. And details with Musa Babali.
On my recent visit to Boko in Benue State, I came across these women. What struck my mind on sighting them was that they must be going for a funeral or some other ceremony, until one of them whispered to me, they are on their way to the farm. Dancing, singing and smiling, even under the scorching hot sun as they carry out tedious tasks of farming. Not only in Benue, but across all farming communities in the country, women are always in the forefront in farming activities. In Kano State, this group of women farmers formed an association with a view to improving their agricultural yields. They are being supported with palliative to boost farming activities amidst the coronavirus pandemic. The support is coming from UNDP through the Women Farmers Advancement Network.
So each farmer will get input, that is seed. They will get pre-emergence and post-emergence pesticide. They will get 30 kg of seed. They will get 4 bags of NPK, and they will get 2 bags of urea. And that's exactly what you need for sustainable rice production. We're going to marry this with extension services very closely with the farmers so that we get the desired output.
In Lokoja, Kogi State, the Federal Ministry of Agriculture distributed palliative to farmers, with women getting the largest share of farming inputs.
We appreciate the government for giving us fertilizer and some food inputs to grow our farm.
In our inputs distribution effort, at least 35% of inputs are targeted for women farmers, in line with targets set in our National Gender Action Plan for Agriculture and the policies aimed at ensuring increased opportunities for women.
As the federal government gets set to introduce heavy-duty farming equipment to smallholder farmers, there is the hope that very soon Nigerian women will not only own a tractor, but operate it themselves. In Abuja, Musa Baba Aliyu, NTA News.
Trust Nigeria women there, Musa, I know would operate it and would do it very, very well. Now, the coronavirus is still very much around, but life too must go on, even though with new realities. The essence, however, is to balance safety with the new way of doing things. That is why it is heartwarming to hear that the recent decisive action taken by Jigawa State government on the observance of COVID-19 safety protocols in all markets has started yielding results. And correspondent Mansour Aliu Hassan, who visited Maigatari International Market and others, reports.
The reopening of the weekly markets in Jigawa State shut down 9 weeks ago, followed the agreement reached between the State Task Force on COVID-19 and leadership of the markets on ensuring strict adherence to safety guidelines of the NCDC. The Maigatari International Cattle Market was NTA's first port of call. That form of information dissemination and many others applied. Buyers and sellers are being guided throughout their transaction period. The hustle and bustle of trading activities, also in Laraba and Shuarin weekly markets, leaves no one in doubt on the importance of wearing a face mask.
And it seems when I went around that I've noticed that some of them actually do comply.
While the compliance to the COVID-19 protocol reaches appreciable level, it also paves way for many to make brisk business.
Selling masks for people to protect themselves.
307 of the 317 total confirmed COVID-19 cases in Jigawa State have been discharged, with only one active case now being treated. In Dutse, Mansour Aliyu Hassan, NTA News.
COVID-19 has had profound consequences on different sectors of Nigeria's economy, including the construction industry. In this report, Comfort Mbiateng takes a look at the impact of the pandemic on the cost of building materials and how it has affected the affordability of housing.
Building is one of the basic necessities for human comfort. Over time, it has also impacted on the socio-economic development of the country. This is seen in the structure of the industry.
The building industry is the second highest employer of labor. You have the people that are packing sand, you have the people that are blasting stone, then you have people that are into the aspect of the land proper before you get to site.
However, the coronavirus pandemic is having significant impact on businesses within the construction industry as a result of the lockdown and travel ban imposed to fight the virus.
During the corona period, most of the things that are used for the manufacturing, they actually come from abroad. So now that the borders were closed for a very long time, the quantity of material that we have within the country, the demand is increasing.
Customers do come in and go out, and we make sales of over 20,000 blocks, 10,000 blocks a day sometimes. But because of the scarcity of blocks, we don't have blocks on ground.
A lot of things have taken some places of the building materials. Like I think most people now are just looking at their stomach.
The speed with which COVID-19 has struck the industry is unprecedented, thereby making strategies to mitigate the impact of the outbreak full focus for construction workers. In Jos, Comfort Biang-10, NTA News.
There is increased consciousness on the need to diversify the economy and promote domestic competence in different sectors of the economy. Elizabeth Omori reports on the ideas advanced by Major General Sam Moma on some tracks that could help the nation in moving forward.
No doubt, December 2019 will not be forgotten in a hurry globally, as this date birthed the emergence of a virus ravaging the world. In response to the unprecedented negative impact, nations have had to adapt and adjust accordingly to keep different sectors on an even keel. Nigeria is not an exception. The book, Why We Must Restructure Nigeria Now, seeks to provide answers to why restructuring of all the sectors is crucial.
It is important to find an alternative to oil. Let's map up a new strategy that will see us beyond oil.
Major General Sam Moma lends his considerable experience as a retired military officer in a former Minister of Science and Technology, to 9 chapters of material which x-ray diversification of the economy post-COVID-19.
When the government comes out with a policy, we should fully support it and embrace it and ensure that we affect it accordingly, so that we can all survive as a nation.
The book also highlights the need to invest in the judiciary.
Restructuring, the author says, will systematically help Nigeria replace dependence on oil with technologically diversified economy. In Abuja, Elizabeth Umar, NTA News.
When we return from the break we are about to take, details of assaults and the various arsenals the armed forces are deploying towards tackling insecurity headlong. What else can I tell you? Well, the baby factory phenomenon is in the news again with an incredible twist. Don't go away.
On Agriculture and Rural Development is organizing a 2-day public hearing on 3 bills. Day 1, Monday 13th July, time 10 a.m. Venue, Senate Conference Hall 231 New Building. National Agricultural Development Fund Establishments Bill 2020 SB 119. National Food Reserve Agency Establishments Bill 2020 SB 189. Day 2, Tuesday 4th.
And defeat the virus. Together, we can do this. This message is brought to you by the Nigerian Television Authority, NTA, Africa's largest television network.
Welcome back. Nigerian Air Force, in synergy with other security agencies, will continue to fight banditry until Nigerians are able to go about their normal activities without fear. Chief of the Air Staff, Air Marshal Sadiq Baba Abubakar, stated this at the inauguration of additional facilities at 271 NAF Detachment, Birnungwari, Kaduna State. And Suleiman Abdullahi Rigachikun reports.
For some time now, Birnungwari axis of Kaduna State has become synonymous with banditry and other violent crimes. And in response to the demand by the community and the state government, the Nigerian Air Force established its detachment to augment the effort of the Army and other security agencies in dealing with the situation. The construction of offices, a helipad to facilitate timely response, and most recent, this 20x1 accommodation for fighting forces are steps towards the same direction.
I call this step to commission this building for the use of officers.
Chief of the Air Staff charged personnel of the Air Force to redouble effort in their assigned task of national defense and security.
It is no gainsaying that our air offensives against banditry in the ongoing military campaigns in Niger, Kaduna, Zamfara, Katsina, and Sokoto states have so far contributed greatly to the achievement of the armed forces of Nigeria's mandate of ensuring that the Northwest Zone is secured and stable.
With this inauguration, 271 NAF Detachment Birnungwari is now better equipped to enable personnel deployed to ensure security in this area perform their duties effectively and be able to deal with banditry not only in this axis of the state but other neighboring states of Katsina and Zamfara. In Kaduna, I am Suleiman Abdullahi Rigachikun, NTA News.
Insecurity and the coronavirus are part of challenges bedeviling governments globally, and Nigeria inclusive. Any effort to tackle one or the two is a welcome development. The recent donation of 200 utility vehicles to various security agencies by the Zamfara state government to complement the federal government's renewed commitment to ending banditry and other related crimes in the state is therefore commendable. General Officer Commanding 3 Armored Division JOS, Major General Nuhu Angbazo, is launched the distribution of the vehicles to the heads of the security agencies in Gusau. And Sadia Abubakar Tunau has that.
The renewed commitment by the federal government to end banditry and other related crimes in Zamfara state is obviously yielding desired result as farming activities are now picking up in most of the hitherto ravaged communities. The donation of 200 brand new Hilux vehicles to the security agencies by the Zamfara state government is therefore aimed at consolidating this gain by improving their operational capacity.
We will not leave any stone unturned based on the support that you have given us to ensure that the glory of Zamfara State comes back.
This strategy of bringing the security agencies together to synergize and operate as one force with adequate operational equipment like vehicles and even drones for intelligence gathering have put the security agencies' operation very effective.
Governor Bello Mohammed, who explained that the operational vehicles are well equipped with communication gadgets, reiterated the decision of the state government to continue to adopt dialogue while supporting the kinetic approach to addressing the security challenges.
We must join hands to defeat the menace of terrorism, kidnapping and banditry, which over the years cripple our economy.
Recipients of the operational vehicles include the Army, the Navy, the Police, the DSS, the NSCDC, and the Nigerian Immigration Service, among others. In Gusau, Sadia Abubakar Chino, NTA News.
In the meantime, the Nigerian Army is deploying more troops to fight crime in the northeast and northwest. And Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Tukur Buratai, announced this at the graduation ceremony of Batch 2 of the Special Forces training at the Nigerian Army School of Infantry, Jaji, Kaduna State. And we have the defense correspondent Ismail Musa with that.
Unconventional crimes like banditry in the northwest and insurgency in the northeast are alien to Nigeria, forcing the country to take desperate security measures to address. This is one of the measures being adopted by the Nigerian Army to upscale the capacity of troops to face the challenges.
The training, which was facilitated through partnership, covered aspects of close contact combat, camouflage, unexpected incident operations, and extraction under fire. It also included first aid, intelligence, and surveillance skills.
Chief of the Army Staff, Lieutenant General Tukur Buratai, who awarded special promotions to the participants, charged them to penetrate criminal locations in the northwest and northeast.
We want you to be the force that will get these adversaries, these criminals across the country, finally on their knees. The adversary is nothing to write home about compared to us, but the skill that you have will be much an edge, greater edge than what the adversary has.
The first batch of this training have been breaking grounds at the theater of Operation Lafia Dole in the northeast. Over 1,000 Special Forces troops with new and unique skills graduated from the 12 weeks training program. From the Nigerian Army School of Infantry in Jaji, Kaduna State, Ismail Musa, NTA News.
For a specialized and elite security outfit like the Nigerian Air Force, personnel development and training are not optional. The Air Force knows this and says it will sustain the core values of professionalism, discipline and excellence in its operations across flashpoints in Nigeria. Chief of the Air Staff, Air Marshal Sadiq Baba Abubakar, acknowledged this at the graduation of Information and Communication Specialist at the Air Force Institute of Technology, Kaduna. And Suleiman Abdullahi Rugachikun reports.
Training of batch of 82 intermediate communication and information system specialists comprising of airmen and airwomen, Chief of the Air Staff Air Marshal Sadiq Baba Abubakar says is part of the Air Force commitment to upscaling skills and technical know-how in the force within the last 6 years.
In times where you need to really have the knowledge required to be able to deal with the situations that are unfolding. Besides, the federal government has acquired 22 aircraft for the Air Force. Those to maintain those platforms are some of these guys that we have just trained. In addition to the 22, of course, we are expecting 16 more platforms. So we must prepare ahead so that we have the required number of technical support personnel that will maintain the platforms when they are fully here.
All right. The Nigerian military says several terrorists have been neutralized and a gun truck destroyed by the combined efforts of air and land forces at Gubio in the northern part of Borno State. A statement from the Defense Media Operations indicates that troops of Sector 3 and the Air Task Force of Operation Lafia Dole achieved the feat on July 7, 2020, when Boko Haram and SWAT elements attempted to breach Gubbio town. NAV intelligence, surveillance and reconnaissance aircraft provided situational awareness while troops engaged the terrorists on the ground, inflicting further casualties on the terrorists. The military high command commends Operation Lafia Dole, urging intensified offensives against the terrorists and all other enemies of the country in the northeast, while working in concert with other security agencies and stakeholders. Knowledge, we are told, is power. The Air Force has demonstrated that with its personnel training. Now, we are being told that lack of literature in the Nigeria police is the major contributor to the country's ineffective policing. This came to the fore at the public presentation of a book titled Critical Thinking and Policing in Abuja. Oluseyi Adiabo was there.
The Nigerian police force is said to be the mother of the nation's security operatives and plays a vital role in maintaining stability and peace in the country. It is, however, becoming imperative to fill the void in Nigeria's policing literature and boost the knowledge of officers towards effectiveness. The book, Critical Thinking and Policing, co-authored by Matthias Okoye-Yoyo, Assistant Director at the Police Service Commission, and DCP Suleiman Abdul, is providing answers to these as it dwells on topical security issues, revealing the importance of critical thinking in policing training, operations, decision-making, and intelligence analysis, as well as criminal investigation. With about 257 pages, 6 chapters, and 4 appendices, the introduction is the work of the Inspector General of Police, Mohammed Adamu, and forwarded by the Chairman, Police Service Commission, Musliu A.K. Smith, IGP retired. Many said the book makes a good read, as the author's literary approach is intentional, designing to the average mind of every partisan police officer.
Literature like this becomes apt and very relevant. To prevent crime, you must think. You must think ahead of the criminal.
With greater precision and accuracy, you can solve any problem, overcome every obstacle, and achieve any goal you can set for yourself.
The two authors speak on the motivation.
We identified a depth of literature in the critical aspect of policing, which is critical thinking.
The law says, if I want to arrest you, I put my hand on your shoulder and say, you are in the name of head of state, your liberty is seized and you are under arrest. But practically, you know that is not feasible. So the idea of how I arrest you now becomes discretionary, and I have to apply critical thinking.
They say they expect a wide circulation of the book, especially at security institutions, given the educational benefits it provides in enriching readers' knowledge about the Nigerian security field of play. In Abuja, Oluseyi Adiabo, NTA News.
The upsurge of activities of the infamous baby factories in parts of the country has necessitated the call by the law enforcement agencies for a synergy to end the illicit business. This is coming on the heels of recent police discovery of a notorious human trafficking syndicate operating under the guise of a church. The cover story is that it rescues abandoned pregnant teenagers in Port Harcourt. And Ijoma Ugweke, however, has the other side of the story on this matter of great concern.
For 6 years, Mrs. Maureen Martins and her husband have been in the business of selling babies. The couple, who operates under the camouflage of a church in Rumolumini, Port Harcourt, was nabbed by a special intelligence response team who trailed a child trafficking case from Akwa Ibom.
And then that arrest was made in Port Harcourt. Sometime now, we have been able to stabilize the cases of baby factory, but we're not going to rest on our oars.
Most of the victims of the illicit business are pregnant teenage girls who they scout during church outreach in ghettos. This is with a promise to provide them with accommodation, feeding and maternity care during that phase of their lives.
This is about that there's a child of whom is that I should come. If I have somebody that will buy it. I now say that I should come and see the baby first.
Okay.
So I will see the person that will adopt the baby.
Okay.
That's why I came.
Aside the rescue of the 3 newly born babies, their mothers, and 3 pregnant teenagers, prosecuting the couple, the police PRO said, is sacrosanct.
Even the Bible said, no, a sinner cannot go unpunished. We have committed the criminal offense, and so shall it be. At the end of our investigation, they are likely to go to court because we cannot compromise it.
So make these people have the mind that once they are arrested, they will be granted bail, and or that their trial will be delayed, and by so doing, it will lead to maybe the matter being swept under the carpet. So, as a matter of fact, we hope that crimes of this nature should be given special attention.
Investigations revealed that a baby boy is sold for 1.5 million naira, while a baby girl for 1.1 million naira. The girls are paid 30,000 naira to return to their base with the information that they lost their babies at birth.
1.1 million.
Okay, this 1.1 million, what do you want to use it to do?
I never see this.
I say, what do you want? What did you come to do with 1.1 million?
She called me to come and see the baby now. That's why I came with it.
Concerned members of the public advised parents and guidance of the unwanted pregnant victims to do the needful rather than throw them to the wolves.
If you see that your daughter don't get belly, carry it to the person who pregnant her, and not you. The seller will come and meet her. Mommy, don't worry. We will sell it, but we won't allow it to be leaked. No. Let them carry the woman or the girl who don't get that belly. Show the person who give them the belly. Don't sell. Because sell is an abomination. It's a bad in the country.
In African culture, people are used to taking care of one another. So if it happens, a relative who does not even have a child can take care of the child after delivery. He send the mother to school while you take care of the little one. If we begin to take care of
Nigerians and self-isolate if you think you might have come in contact with a carrier. Your safety and the safety of others is in your hands.
This message is from the Akinfade Foundation in partnership with the National Orientation Agency with support from MacArthur Foundation.
Welcome back to News Extra. Plans have been finalized by the federal government towards the establishment of cottage industries in the 774 local government areas of the country for enhanced economic well-being and job creation. The Minister of Special Duties and Intergovernmental Affairs, George Akume, announced this while briefing newsmen after presenting his scorecard to the Federal Executive Council. State House correspondent Adam Sambo reports that the Minister of Foreign Affairs, Geoffrey Onyema, also gave account of his stewardship.
The presentation of scorecards by members of the Federal Cabinet was initiated by President Muhammadu Buhari to not only assess their performances, but also the level of implementation of his administration's next-level agenda. The Minister of Special Duties, George Akume, who took his turn this Wednesday, spoke at length on the various initiatives being pursued towards supporting efforts at lifting one of poverty in
so that our foreign policy can reflect the realities of today and the realities of Nigeria's national interest.
Nigeria, he said, has also achieved a lot in placing her citizens in key positions globally, thereby giving the country some strategic leverage.
Also, there's the Green Initiative that we're launching. It's an agricultural initiative with the Brazilian government, over $1.1 billion initiative in which would also help to create jobs in this country, and especially youth employment.
Nigerian diplomatic initiative, the minister explained, has also been launched as a one-stop shop for business matching between Nigerians and potential foreign partners, access international markets, as well as attract foreign direct investment. From the State House, Adamu Sambu, NTA News.
And the National Hajj Commission of Nigeria is proposing to establish the first Hajj Training Institute in Africa. Chairman of the commission, Zikrullah Hassan, made the revelation when he visited Governor Bala Mohammed in Bauchi during his first official assignment outside the nation's capital. Mahmoud Ibn Mohammed reports.
Rolling out the Commission's developmental plans for the nation's Hajj industry, Chairman of the National Hajj Commission of Nigeria, Zikrullah Hassan, declared that the Commission will introduce a Hajj savings scheme that will enable intending pilgrims from Nigeria plan ahead.
We are not yet the best in the world. Our aim, our focus is to begin the process to be the best Hajj organized commission in the entire world. Nigeria is the 5th largest contingent of Hujjaj in the entire world, and of course we are the blacks, because if Nigeria choose not to go to Saudi Arabia for Hajj, if Mali likes, if Gambia likes, they could go, but the Hajj, the Saudi Arabia people will have missed the Muslims from the birthplace from coming. So we are the largest black race and the 5th largest.
It's the only way average middle level Bauchi citizen expresses his own desire to go out for spirituality and for tourism. And it's the only way to show them that you care is to make sure you cushion the problems and challenges that they go through. You have a pedigree, you have an antecedent of being one of the most respected and articulate serving member of the Hajj Commission for many years.
In its quest for thorough management of the industry, the National Hajj Commission has selected Bauchi State as the anchor point for Gombe and Plateau states. In Bauchi, Mahmoud Ibn Mohammed, NTA News.
Reformation is only truly complete when the reformed is empowered to move on and not go back to old ways. And so it is with dozens of discharged ex-inmates who acquired skills while in custody. They have received starter kits. That's not just giving one a fish to eat for a day, but teaching one to fish and also to eat for a lifetime. And Victor Azu reports on this initiative.
Salisu Ibrahim spent 6 years in custody, and while at it, he acquired tailoring skills and education. Like him, many others acquired skills like welding, electrical services, hair making, and tailoring, among others. Now, Salisu is one of the 36 beneficiaries of starter kits after their discharge from the custodial centers.
I learned tailoring, electrical, computer, and education. I'm going to school inside Kuje prison, whereby I wrote my NECO and wire, waiting for my admission now.
I always pray for a day I have my own equipment and be useful to myself and to the society. Today I have opportunity.
Salisu and the others represent the new face of the Nigerian Correctional Service, which is hinged on reformation, rehabilitation, and reintegration.
They have been able to expose and acquire threat test certificate, and we have this program in which we give them the tools for them to settle down, and we'll continue to monitor them and see whether they conform with what we have done. And we are happy to say that some of them not only settled down but have also become successful employers of labor, and we are very proud of that.
Now that they are back in the society, the Correctional Service boss solicits the support of all to keep them focused. In Abuja, Victor Azu, NTA News.
The Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation, NNPC, has reported an explosion incident at Bichiokun OML 40, operated by the Nigerian Petroleum Development Company, NPDC. On behalf of the NPDC Elcrest joint venture, the incident occurred on Tuesday during the installation of a ladder on a platform beneath a river valve station for access during discharging Ogbechiokun production. A release by NNPC Group General Manager, Group Public Affairs Division, Dr. Kenny Obateru, said, unfortunately, the incident caused 7 fatalities. The release stated that detailed investigation of the cause of the explosion has commenced, while the Department of Petroleum Resources has been duly notified and Form 41 was being prepared for the industry regulator as required in circumstances of this nature. The bodies of casualties have been deposited in a morgue in Sapele, while families of the personnel involved are being contacted by the employers, World Affairs and Flow Impact, who are consultants to NPDC. The release added that all personnel on board the platform had been fully accounted for. NNPC Group Managing Director Malam Melikari in the statement commiserated with the families of the bereaved, praying that God grants them the fortitude to bear the loss. Creating new strategies and approaches for peace to thrive and be strengthened in Nigeria and on the continent was the focal point at the unveiling of the late Chief Joseph Adolo Okoti-Ebo Peace and Conflict Resolution Foundation. Adeola Kamiakere, who monitored the virtual event, reports that it was a move by the family to honor him.
Peace and conflict resolution are prerequisites for justice and social stability through formal and informal institutions, practices, and norms. How these can impact on nation building was established by erudite scholars who enumerated the steps for the actualization of conflict resolution in politics and governance, while drawing example from the late Chief Adolo Okoti-Ebo's political legacies. Professor Anya Oanya described the act of terrorism as a phenomenon that instills fear on citizens and truncates development.
Do not get into the drama of being as violent as the terrorists and announcing it on radio and television of the great things the government is doing. The response should usually be quietly and through clandestine operations.
Professor Bolaji Akinyemi enumerated approaches towards resolving age-long conflicts in the country without sidelining any interest.
You've got to have a leader who is focused on international affairs or foreign policy, who is knowledgeable in them, who is prepared to be engaged.
Deputy Senate President and former governors of Edo, Delta, and Kano states described the late Adolo Okoti-Ebo in glowing terms.
He kept building bridges while maintaining strict principles.
10 athletes. The Games was designed to hold annually, but that was only achieved 3 times after the first edition, as paucity of funds hampered the series in 2014 and 2015. The 17 years age bar was reduced to 15 after the 3rd edition in 2017 to ensure that the youth development target is sustained.
I was there last year and I saw a 10-year-old, a 9-year-old doing well in gymnastics and some other in chess too.
This is the network service of the NTA.